All right, everyone, welcome to part 2 of Helen Padgett's Messages on Soulmate. Had a lively discussion last week, and then I think most of us listened to the recording to Rachel's channeling, Mary channeling Rachel. Excuse me. So I picked a passage that I want us to kind of focus on. But what are your thoughts on the channelings by Rachel about soulmate? What are your thoughts about listening to that talk, Jill?
For me, it was, I mean, the whole thing was very triggering, that's for sure. But I think it really kind of drove home the point that uh that I need to work on loving myself first before even thinking about loving my soulmate or having that kind of relationship. That it really, I don't know how many times I said it in that recording, but I was about halfway through and I'm like, okay, I think I get it.
Yeah.
I had already said it like 2 or 3 times already. So yeah.
Okay. Thank you. Virginia?
I'm in with Jill on that. And what really got me is that in doing this, so it's the relationship with God and myself, loving myself, that is what actually attracts the soulmate.
Yeah.
I believe that's what was said. And that, okay, so that creates like the magnet that brings soulmate, whether they be in the physical world or spirit world, but that's what will happen.
Okay. Loving and knowing yourself too, right? Those talk about you got to know yourself. You got to know.
The quote, I don't know who said it, but the quote was, if you cannot have a desire for your soulmate if you do not have a desire for yourself.
There you go. The desire to know yourself. Who am I? Casey.
Yeah, I loved it. It was really affirming for kind of my last few years of my own process. I do with my soulmate, but I've been really grouchy about it for a really long time because it's like a lot of the demands that I talk about that we have for our soulmate, and that they should, that we feel that they should make us feel better and all of those sorts of things. That's I had for a very long time. We've been together for 18 years, for a very long time. And it was only during the pandemic that I was like, look at me. And it was guides that are like, no, just focus on yourself. Don't worry about anything else. And so having that affirmation, it's like, oh, okay, I'm on the right track. I'm working through my own stuff. I'm learning to rediscover who I am and maybe get to the point of liking and then loving myself. And that's always especially the last year felt like the right place for me. So that was kind of nice to hear, like, okay, I'm doing it. It's hard, but I'm doing it.
The desire for yourself, like that word has a lot of potency. Gotta have some feelings of worth to even want to do that. Wow, thank you. Virginia?
It looks like Nancy is on WhatsApp and she's having trouble using the links to get on. Sorry.
It's always somebody. And Justin, get it. Here we go. Okay. Okay. Some missing folks coming along. Okay. Other thoughts about channeling? Jeet?
Yeah, there was an interesting portion of it that I wrote down about in order to accept yourself, you have to accept God's truth about yourself.
Okay.
And if you don't accept it, if you have a false belief about yourself and you try and skirt around that, you're not good. get anywhere, and you're actually going to create, if you maybe get rid of that error, you're just going to replace that error with another error.
Wow.
You really have to, while you're doing this, be willing and open to God's truth about ourselves.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. See ourselves as we really are. Susie and then Michaela.
I've noticed this does pertain to the comments that have previously been spoken, but it might be a roundabout way. I noticed in my law of attraction that I take care of my grandson, and my son and I are living in the same area, and there's a lot of addictions that I recognize but haven't emotionally dealt with, but it's in the process of happening. Anyway, my grandson, oh, and I noticed there's only women on this call. So that means that there's a lot of blocks for us as women to work through related to the male, male
Absolutely.
stuff. Yeah. So with my grandson, whenever I change his poopy diapers, he does not want that at all. He just fights it, and he doesn't want to be touched there at all. So, and my son got raped when he was 7. I've cried a lot about that, but that happened. And I don't recall myself being raped, but it's possible that I've blocked that out, because there's certain portions of my life I've kind of blocked out. Okay, so a lot of this what is true about myself, both in the unloving aspect of myself without condemning myself? Okay, because it's true that I'm created good, I'm created loving, I'm created vivacious and playful, and all of these qualities that God instilled in me. And yet there's the covering emotions of the facade, and things that I might not know of how I instilled in my sons, because I have 2 boys and I'm watching my grandson. So it's all boys, and I grew up with all girls. Like what have I done to instill in them that they attracted being raped by, in this case, my son was raped by an older boy. He was 7 and the boy was 14. He was a neighbor kid. Okay, so those things are, because they block the soulmate relationship. Those
Your judgment of it may.
Yes. Yeah. So yet those things are horrible. So it's the release of the judgment of what the projection was that caused them to be opened up to being raped.
Yeah.
And seeing what I did and what was done to me without the judgment.
Yeah.
Just feel the pain of it.
Yeah.
Anyway, those are some of the law of attractions that were coming to me, and also the realizations that were realizations of the blockages to soulmate attraction. Because you gotta love yourself, but I can't love that. It's like,
well, but God does, and your guides do. But your guides do, and God does.
Yes, they love me, but they don't love
as you are, not as you are, as you are. And that's the lesson. That's the development of love. God is loving the sinner exactly as you are, and it's not even asking for you to change. Doesn't even require it. So being sensitive to that kind of feeling and treatment will then change how you're treating yourself. And then you will start to treat the sinner as God is. And until that switch,
there is a big switch there, and there's a switch in how I view like child molesters,
Sure.
right?
I got, yeah.
And
There's a lot of work to go through for that.
yes,
Yeah, and that's okay. We've done some mediumship on those issues that really helped us work through some stuff. So
okay.
it's okay.
Okay.
Yeah,
and then the prayer, I always go back to the prayer, because in the prayer for divine love, there's whenever I'm working on something, it's highlighted in that prayer. So in this case, and I missed it. I keep missing it I say it morning and night, every day for 3 years now, that God is all merciful.
Yeah.
God's merciful.
So how can you open yourself up to that?
To mercy, to the realization of mercy. Yeah.
And to actually receive those feelings.
Yes.
Usually I do it by guides, by talking to your guides, by asking your guides, how do you feel about me in that situation, in what I did? And when you receive their feelings, you start to see the discrepancy with how you're treating yourself. Because until then, you can't heal. You're actually further injuring yourself.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I usually just ask God to show me, and shows me through my guides for sure. But yeah, there's more to feel in relation to God's mercy. How does God's mercy actually feel? And opening myself up to what mercy actually feels like.
Yeah.
And yeah.
Okay.
Anyway, so those are my realization comments.
Absolutely. This kind of intergender injuries are definitely blocks the soulmate. But, a lot of people have to feel too. And somehow we have to get to forgiving ourselves and others, and gotta release all the harshness. Quite a bit of work there. Okay, so other comments on Rachel's channeling? Oh, Michaela, yes.
I just wanted to add to that what Susie was saying and what Casey was saying about having to choose yourself. I found that a really crucial part of that process was first choosing to accept myself and to really focus my prayer and attention on wanting to accept myself. And it wasn't until that I was even open to anything about myself.
Which is what exactly what the conversation is. To accept yourself exactly as you are, and then to see that God absolutely loved this person as I am. Somehow this person is absolutely being loved. There's that piece that I needed to really let in. As I am.
There's a talk about it. I've talked about it with you before. I can't quite remember when it is, but I'll have a look for it. About accepting yourself, that I found helpful at the time.
Okay. I think it was in the 2016 assistance group. Yeah. Okay. Thank you. All right. So other comments about Rachel's mediumship? Selena?
I think what I picked up on it was just a feeling I've already had. Like, as much as we have trouble identifying with God as a true parent, because we have so much injury about our parents, that's the same how we are with gender relationships and what a relationship should be, what is loving relation. Like, we just have no concept. Like, there's just so many things to work through. Yeah. Like, I don't even think most of us can actually really even relate to what it's even like to be in a relationship that has no demand in it, like zero demand. Like, we just haven't been taught anything even closely related to that. Like, it's a whole different experience and feeling that I think will blow our minds with how completely different it is from what we've been taught.
Yeah. Worth exploring, worth developing. Yeah. But then again, it all starts with blocks.
Yeah.
Injuries about it.
Yeah. Like, this yearning for this soulmate when we just have all of this programming for this other kind of relationship. It's just really in conflict. Yeah.
I like to believe that our guides have our treatment plan.
Yeah.
Somebody has a treatment plan for us. So all these issues are, all lined up, and it's all sequential, and, we're not going to be all over the place. Somebody's got a plan for us.
Yeah.
A plan for our soul's redemption, and a plan to be with our soulmate, because they really want that for us. So we're in good hands. We got to make choices, and according to the choices, then they will bring the opportunities to feel about. But yeah, the loving the sinner bit is something that I had to really stop and turn around and go, I don't think I can do anything moving forward until that happens. How do I love me as I am, the sinner? And that took years and years. And that was the focus of our first retreat back in February last year. It was about how do you become that? Oh, yeah, it's a big, big part of moving forward. Or even stopping backwards slide because you're abusing yourself like harshly. So let's move on to the quote I want to focus on today, which is this one. Helen's introducing the talk, and I think bottom of the second page of the topic, that soulmate love was born before any man appeared in the flesh. So basically, way back when God created all the souls, the soulmate love was already in there, which no matter who you are, you can never be deprived of soulmate love, which I think is about you loving your soulmate, not necessarily waiting there to be loved, but for you to love. So souls of men were created by God. Then they were made male and female, and I added this, or same sex, as Jesus have said many times in his talks. This is why I feel confident about adding this. So the constituting only the one soul, two in one, and upon that creation was bestowed with one love, not two, one soulmate love, which was possessed equally by each part of the complete soul, which will always remain one in its complete workings, although these two parts of the soul have to be and are separated in their incarnation of human body so that they can have separate male and female or same-sex parts of the one soul, so that they have separate individuality, but it never sever or disunite this love, which is one love in the soul. So, what are your thoughts about this passage? Just gonna stop sharing so I can see everyone's on the screen. Way back when, this one love was created in this one soul. Virginia?
I think I need to, or I'm supposed to fall in love with myself.
Aha. Okay.
That's, and I'm resisting that.
Yeah. That's a good one to come back to. Okay. Others? Jess?
I keep trying to go into facades because I'm in a tantrum about this.
Okay.
But just like laughing that I'm like, no, I just want my addictions met, and I can't do that through loving myself. And so I'm trying to like manipulate a facade, and I'm trying to get out of this. So I'm searching for ways out so that I can justify my addiction, but I can't. And I'm like, fuck, it makes sense. And I'm like, damn it. Like, I can't even justify my addiction. I can't get a facade.
No.
I'm losing it.
Yeah.
But then I'm impressed. I'm like, oh yeah, like I can't get out of this one.
No. Okay. That addictions are not met by loving yourself. I mean, that right there is an idea like, oh, if you love yourself, you're not gonna need addictions? I mean, basically, you're not gonna need addictions, right? Is that the implication? Ah, that's actually kind of attractive. That alone will make me want to do it. Another 100 addictions out.
I'm being reminded of a core part of the artist's way, which
Okay.
is the artist date, where every week you commit to taking yourself on a date
Yeah.
in alignment with filling your creative well. And it has to be solo. You don't cancel on yourself because it's a date with the love of your life. And
Wow.
so you are taking yourself on that like sacred date. And it's
Okay.
transformational, like when I was doing it. And so I'm like, okay, that's one way to start exploring that.
It's about the sentence that worked for me is to love who God made. It's about me loving who God made, but then God loved me in my brokenness. So I gotta kind of learn to do that too, because I want to be in harmony with God. So a bit of a catch-22 there. Okay, what else comes up for you guys with that statement? Casey and then Selena.
The interesting thing for me, this is a false belief in injury that I wasn't aware of until now, is the for all eternity. And I guess the false belief that I've absorbed is like, you know, you have your person that you love and then you die and then that's it and then you're on your own. But to know we have this other half of ourselves that's ours forever is it's pretty nice.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because as Helen mentioned earlier in the passages, all of this other earth-based relationship is about teaching us about love and about our existence, about being human. But then they're all going to fade away. All earth relationships are going to fade away eventually. And yet there's one that only gets stronger with time. What a contrast. She's such a good writer. Like, look at the way she created the tension in the, like, wow. It really hit the point home. Thank you. And Selena.
What really strikes me about that passage is the one love. Like
Yes.
one, like it's thick. So I got instantly this image of like a ball filled with air. And when you cut it in half, the two halves don't even closely resemble what they are together. But when they're together, they're one thing.
Okay.
Yeah, it's kind of just an interesting, like to imagine that, like it's only a thing when it's the one.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that this one love has been placed in the soul.
Yeah.
It is the same love that is somehow gonna be experienced when you love each other from a soulmate perspective.
From
like,
that
so
place.
what happens here?
It's really.
And is it unique for each soul? Is that love that each soul have unique?
It feels unique, and I feel my guides and their soulmates. It's pretty freaking unique.
Okay.
So, but yeah, for me, the biggest part of it is the lack of demand. That's what I felt in that is the
when the guides love for each other.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
They really want to give, though, right?
Yeah.
You can feel desire to. If you guys are connecting to your guides, or make it a desire to connect to your guides, you can actually feel how they feel about their soulmate. And obviously they'll dilute it to our capacity and then just attach. But it really gives you some feelings to know. Yeah, thank you. Jill.
Oops, there we go. So when you put it up and I read it, I kind of went into a tantrum. I'm like, well, if this is how it's supposed to be, then why are we not with our soulmates right off the bat, right? Mm-hmm. But kind of even just going, okay, I'll go through the tantrum and feeling that tantrum. It brought up a lot of hope in my hopelessness of not loving myself, it brought up a lot of hope, because it's like, well, if this is the way, and hopefully I can explain this, if this is the way it's supposed to be, that we're supposed to have this one great, this person that's always with us, this love, this is a great love between us, then, and I'm it will always get like either stronger or better or whatever that looks like, then that gives me hope to also know that that's going to be there waiting for me once I learn to love myself. But it also makes sense of why I need to love myself in order to have that happen. It makes sense. Because if this amazing love is available to you, you're not going to be able to see it in your demands and in your addictions and in that. So that is all an attack. You're attacking yourself when you're in your demands and gods and addictions. So therefore I can't actually be with my soulmate because I'm attacking myself. Because I think it was quoted in there that when you attack yourself, you attack your soulmate. When you deny your emotion, denying your soulmate, you know, it was in there as well. So it's very hopeful. And to know that I also kind of got the image of also relating it to the relationship with God. Like you're constantly going to be getting to know God. So why would, if that relationship is meant to be that way, why wouldn't it be about the same about yourself and about your soulmate? Like if that love is supposed to be that connection that you're constantly learning, then you're constantly learning about yourself, and then you're constantly learning about your soulmate. So like I don't know, that's kind of how it sort of resonated in my head. I've got a lot more kind of to feel about it, but it just gave me hope, I guess, is the whole big thing of that.
Good. And I have a very strong demand I'm just beginning to not deny, which is that he has to love me. It's a big job. I'm like, I can't even move past any other addictions until I get that one rid of. It's a very strong addiction, which come from intense pain. So I get it. But, you know, to love your soulmate, it's about you loving your soulmate, not about what you're going to get. It's about you awakening your soulmate aspect and you developing love for the soulmate. So yeah, addictions has to go. Yeah. I mean, I don't want a job. My soulmate shows up with a job for me now while I demand 200 things, but you know, now I don't want a job. Like sometimes if our addictions are not compatible, the soulmate's turned off by that particular addiction. Sometimes addiction can be compatible and then you think you're happy with each other. I've heard of that. I wouldn't know personally. Yep. So what I observe my guides, what I'm observing is their passion to give love to their soulmate, but also being open to receiving what is coming. That seems to be what I observe. Other comments? Oh, Michaela, you're glowing in a sad. I couldn't see that your hand was up.
Yeah. Just on the God, that God created us as one. I feel like I'm just starting in my relationship to have faith in that and to make choices based on believing in that. And it's really like so much of learning to love your soulmate is from learning to love God. Like I really understand now like how you have to have God in order to even be able to start to comprehend of what it could be with your soulmate. Because you've got to have faith in the structures that are going to hold it, and if you don't have faith in those structures, you're not going to take those actions
and hang in there.
Yeah, exactly. That desire to pull you through, like for me now, it's finally about God, and it's really exciting because it's like he's not going to fuck me up. He's going to fuck me up, but he's not going to fuck me up.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay, thank you. Other comments? Selena, and then Judith.
Well, based on the concept that love is a substance, so we receive love, so we've got natural love that we get from our guides, and we have divine love, but they have divine love in them, so the natural love that we get from them is different, and God gives us divine love. And I think more and more feeling that soulmate love is also a whole different substance of identity, of feeling like it's different. Like,
yes,
it's a different
yes
kind of gift from God, kind of love. Like, so to even try and relate it to those feelings of those kinds of love is not. It's not.
No.
It's different. It's soulmate love. It's not in a big generic lump with the other things. You know?
Yeah, exactly.
So I'm really feeling that today. Yeah, that is.
Okay. A separate substance. And that
it's a separate substance. Yeah. If you believe love is a substance, then it's a separate. Me too.
I do.
Yeah. Yeah.
So if it's a separate substance, I wonder if, because in the Padgett messages, there's a lot of messages of you need to love your soulmate, because I think you're developing your soul, you're growing your soul, like something happens to you in loving your soulmate. So I'm kind of wondering now if it's that one same love in there, that flow of that love kind of nourishes you or heal you or grow you, or like it's got to be something.
That's how I
growth
feel
hormone.
it. Yeah.
Growth hormone of some kind.
Yeah, like it's just, it's different. We get to have the experience of all three of these loves. Like it just feels like part of the great opportunity of experience God wants to give you. You don't get the divine love without the natural love either. Like that's also part of our experience, that we give and receive that. And then the divine love we give and receive from God. Well, we don't even give God divine love. He's the only person that can deliver it to us. It's just neat that we get to have all these opportunities of experience and feeling.
Of different kinds. Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. Judith.
Yeah, I'm just feeling a little sad about it, frankly, because I feel like we all were taught the wrong thing, and it's prevalent. And everything that the most addictive I think we are is when we are in romantic relationships.
Oh my God.
I mean, that's where we really try to get our addictions. It just boils. And what would the world look like if we kind of knew this fact?
It's
and it's actually hard to believe. It's still hard. I don't think I've accepted it in my soul yet, but
that you just have that one person who's already been made for you,
right?
And you're gonna, and once you heal, you're gonna think it's gonna be the best thing ever.
Right.
May not be that way. Wow, that's a good point. We have been taught the wrong thing. Like, just imagine if you just corrected. I know, so far I'm going. Just corrected two things. One is don't even involve God. One is you have guides. Just so everybody born know. We have guides. We see them all the time. We don't turn that off. Imagine that one life. Two is everybody knew from get-go you have that one other. And hope you find each other. Yeah, like just imagine. Let's plan it. Trajectory will change. Like, wow. Yeah, and then three, if you say, there's a God that really loves us, who's our true parent, who created you. Man, what would that do? It's a simple thing in preschool. Yeah, that's a good point. The sun is the loss of our life for not knowing some things. Even though if you think about it, all the songs and movies, somehow they keep resonating, they keep coming back to that idea of the one. Yeah. We have a saying in Punjabi, Rabbi Banai Jodi, which means that this match was made by God. God made the match. And I'm like, we say stuff like that. It's all there in all cultures. Yeah. Okay. Other comments? Selena? And then Susie.
Based on that, how driven we are to have monogamous relationships. Why? Like, why?
Yeah.
Why? Because they fail and fail and fail and fail. And yet we're driven, we keep hoping and thinking that will happen for us, that we'll get that one. So it's like an inborn desire we already have.
Yeah.
To keep, because otherwise, I mean, based on what's happening in the world, like now that we don't even have religion to control our relationships for the most part.
Yeah.
It's like, why don't just do whatever you want with whomever you want at whatever time you want? But we don't, we're driven to monogamy. It's very interesting in all cultures, really.
Yeah.
Well, there's some polygamous, obviously there's some here and there, but yeah, but in general we are. It's just interesting. Yeah.
Thank you. Susie.
I might be jumping ahead, but I was thinking about the last group that you facilitated with the mediumship, the soulmate, not soulmate. We weren't focused on soulmates, but we were looking at the various spirits that were with us.
Okay. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
And we were addressing their emotions.
Yeah.
And it feels like to me that would be really useful in a group like this, because we've got a lot of mainly women spirits around us that are, on one hand, I feel them interested in this.
Yes.
And on the other hand, fearful of even addressing this and influencing us in various ways. Plus our spirit guides who are influencing us in releasing these blocks, but also helping them release certain emotions that they're hooking into ourselves. And seeing that this is an all-female group might be really helpful. So we actually perhaps go away from this session really recognizing the first emotion to release, the first issue, that whatever that blocking issue is.
But Susie, I feel you're being harsh on yourself even with that. Yeah, it's okay. It's okay to have the injuries you do. It's okay. It takes time. It's okay. Yeah.
Well, perhaps that's the emotion.
There you go, Landon. But yeah, I have been doing more mediumship with spirits for soulmate questions recently too. And then, that's a really good idea. After this call, if some of you want to stay back and we talk to some of them, that'd be great. And another idea I have for our Padgett group is to actually do mediumship with our guides. Like, okay, what are your questions about soulmate? Let's create that. Now let's talk to our guides about it. Or talk to Helen. Ask Helen to come and help us, give us answers for these
that
kind
would
of
be
questions.
great.
Absolutely. Those are some of the ideas I had.
Yeah, because James is probably with her now too, so we can talk to both.
Yeah, they definitely. My problem with James Padgett is that I compare myself as an inferior medium compared to him. So I feel, and yet then last week James gave me love, but I was like, I just feel inferior. I feel like I'll never be as pure as you were, and there's just so much self-shaming around that I'm more open to Helen than I am to James. It's unfortunate. It's my injury job.
So if James comes, it would release some more of the shame.
Hopefully. Okay, so other comments about that, about Helen's comment? Virginia?
So this separation is actually an illusion that's been mentioned.
Aha.
The separation is an illusion. We're never, we are one soul.
Yeah.
You cannot get away from this relationship. You have one soul. And it's illusion of separation. And I never felt this before, but I'm kind of feeling this morning that God did this because it's easier for us.
Okay.
So somehow this makes it easier to learn to love this one half of yourself.
Okay.
Seeing the other part as another person and then coming together, like to learning to love both parts. That somehow this is because it's loving that it be made easier for us.
Yeah.
I don't fully understand it, and I'm not in total agreement with it yet and acceptance, but I'm just feeling that is.
Yeah, there's love behind it, behind that decision. I mean, you can't be separated because you actually are one soul. Like, how do you separate a soul? Like, you can separate, you can allow that one soul to have two separate existence so they can experience themselves, maybe. And then I was also thinking, if learning to love yourself, if that's difficult, maybe the desire to love your soulmate may trigger a similar journey. It's like, how do I learn to love my soulmate? And my desire to love the other will make me want to then be wanting to heal myself. Like, I've had times when I'm thinking, all of my childhood abuses, it's like all that rage must be going to my soulmate. Now I can't do that to him. Wherever he is, like, ouch, I'm really attacking somebody here. I got to get rid of this traumas. Because God knows what injuries I'm causing to your soulmate. I don't want to hurt the other. So that desire to love the other is triggering my desire to heal me. Sometimes that works for some of us. And yeah, the separation is an illusion. We are already connected. We're just not aware of each other. So that is an interesting thought if you let that sink in. You're already two parts of the same soul. Huh. Okay. So like we spoke about last week, it takes a lot of energy to push it away. If you just stop pushing, you will clump together. Like, all you have to do is stop pushing your soulmate away, and there you are. So yeah, the attraction already exists. Who else? Somebody else that raised their hand. Why are we feeling blue? What's happening? What's the sadness here? Jill and then Virginia.
I think the sadness for me is that I am pushing that person away. And that I'm pushing myself away in doing that as well. And harming that person without even really knowing it, without feeling it.
Well, I don't care. I would say it out loud. I don't care my soulmate's getting hurt. You can take a little pain. Look what the shit's been like for me. Have a little bit yourself. That was honestly how I felt.
Yeah.
Felt totally justified in it. So yeah. If you let yourself discover it, you'll be like, no, I want to. I don't care. And now that I have an idea, a suspicion of who that is, I'm like scrambling backward, going, oh, no. I didn't know I was hurting you. Oh, no. So suddenly it's like, whoa, what have I done? So it was actually relieving to find a part in me that's feeling bad about, like, I don't want to hurt you. I'm like, oh, good, I'm a good person. But with so much injury, we're so broken, and then on top of it, we then judge it, and then yeah, it's just the hardest part of our existence. Yeah, this is it. This is that part. We're doing it. We're in it. So Virginia?
It was the same thing that for me is, and I feel sad about that. Why do I think it's okay when I'm in the illusion that I'm only hurting myself with self-sabotage, self-loathing, like all the things that I'm working with? But when I think that I'm bringing down another person, but then that person can be affecting me too. But for some reason, there's a little bit of a wake up there. It's like, oh, I'm not just hurting myself. It isn't just me. And why do I think that it's okay to hurt just me?
Yeah.
It just brings up a whole bunch of things that you are never just doing anything to yourself.
So
Never.
Virginia, when you were saying earlier that there's love in this creation of soulmate love and awareness, it's like maybe this is one of it. Maybe some of us wake up not to love ourselves, but to not hurt the other. Like, at least it gets you going. And I've heard that usually God would have one half of the soulmate progress quicker so you can turn around and rescue the other.
Yeah, because, the illusion of separation is what allows me to do shitty stuff.
Okay.
That's what allows me to hurt.
Yeah.
Whether it's myself or anybody else, it's this illusion of separation.
Yeah.
And yeah. Okay.
So I think this is really an emotionally opening place for all of us. So let's ask our guides some question about this. Our soul is open now to this aspect. So we could ask, let's ask 3 very simple questions. 1, am I pushing my soulmate away? 2, what's my motivation for pushing soulmate away? If you have a different variation for the question, share it out. 3, where do I start? 2, where do I start to not push soulmate away? This is the one thing you don't have to do anything to attract. You just have to stop pushing. So that's the 3 questions I'm thinking of. How is that for everybody? Yeah? Okay. So question 2 is, what's my motivation for pushing soulmate away? What's driving it? Because it's a motivation. It's a desire. It's an active desire that you have to connect to and release. So let's take a couple of minutes to get answers from you guys about this, or from Helen Padgett if you want. All right, everyone. Looks like there's been some good answers, eh? For some folks. Who wants to share? Susan.
So the 3 questions. Am I pushing my soulmate away? So the answer that I got there was in some areas, although there has been progress. So there was a kindness and compassion to me from my guides. The second one, what's the motivation? And the motivation was this hardness that you pointed out, like this demand of myself to be perfect and to have cleared all the injuries before I feel worthy of that kind of love. And the third one was, what can I do to stop? And that came back to what I'd been meditating on and had been shown about God's mercy.
Okay.
There's a false belief that God is hard, that God demands perfection, and that demands me to have fully forgiven and to have fully repented before I'm worthy of that kind of experience of love towards myself, but also, that I'm not worthy to actually extend it either.
Yeah, to give it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's on both sides of that, but in particular to receive it in my case. So those were the answers that I got.
Thank you. Okay, Alice. Jean?
I received similar answers. The first is yes, I am. And what came up is that I'm still in anger with men in general because of some of the beliefs that I have. that I'm working through. So that very much would push that person, that soul, the rest of that, my soul away. But also the second one is that, yeah, I feel like I need to work on myself. I need to be in a better soul condition to be in this and to be ready for this relationship. I don't feel like I'm ready. Yeah. The third one, I just really felt that I need to have a longing for my authentic self. I want her. I want to be her, and I want her. And that is what also attracts the soulmate, but I wasn't doing it for that. That's just what has been coming up for me more.
It's a developmental state.
That actually does attract your soulmate, because, you know, how can you resist this loving? Because that's the same soul, right? Like, it's the same. It's still not a vision of separation. So if I want that and want to love, truly love that of course is an attraction. They're feeling love too if I'm doing that.
Okay. Thank you. Judith?
I liked Virginia's remark at the end, long for my authentic self. So that was really good. Anyway, the question was, yes, I am pushing the soulmate away, and it's like, don't feel ashamed about it or upset at yourself, but it's obvious that's what I'm doing. And the reason is that I feel I'm unlovable. I don't love myself at this time. My anger that I'm projecting at myself, I'm projecting at everybody else. And I'm not accepting God's truth about who I am, how precious I am, and my worth. And I'm just right now concentrating on my facade. So it's like I learned something like, yeah, we do have another half, but I'm still using the injury to try and get the other half. Or I want the other half to make me feel better about myself and to heal everything. So I want the soulmate to feed on my addictions. And I've had these addictions for a lifetime. So, and it's all about the neediness and a facade. And so to fix this is to feel and seek God's truth about myself without worrying about what everyone else thinks. And I liked what you said, that was like, yeah, long for my authentic self.
Yeah.
So.
Beautiful. Thank you. Who else? Jill and then Jess.
Virginia, I have to say that you're like on fire today, because I've written down a lot of truth bombs that you've given me today. It's awesome. Yeah, so okay, anyways, the questions. Yes, but as far as the first question goes, it has been awakened in you. So imagine, so the image that I got was like a real neglected kind of garden or house or a pile of rubble or something like that. And it's like you're working through that rubble, like you're working through clearing the rubble away. That rubble would be like your addictions and demands and that kind of thing. And towards relationships or towards a bond. Because right now you don't, the thing that's pushing you away is that you don't want that bond, the actual bond, like a relationship, okay, but you don't want the bond. That a soulmate is obvious, right? That illusion of separateness, right? You don't want that. I want to be in the facade of the illusion. So as far as what's really motivating me, what's my desire for pushing my soulmate away, is that I don't think I deserve this level of this kinder level of love, because I don't have that for myself. So how could I even imagine it that somebody else would have it for me? And as far as where to start, I'm over the last little bit, I've really kind of been aware that I understand law of attraction, but I'm not using it to its full potential. And and to look at my past relationships. What have my past relationships brought me? What's that level of law of attraction that it has brought me? Why am I attracting these kinds of partners, or why am I attracting these kinds of people? And really kind of take a look at that and maybe start there.
Okay. Nice one. Thank you. Jess.
Ugh, thank you for that, Jill. My past partners have been coming up like the ghosts of Christmas past in memories that are being shown to me. And I've started to go into that, but clearly not a lot. So you bringing that up just made me feel like I want to vomit. So thanks. Sincerely, but fuck. Okay, that aside, oh, am I pushing my soulmate away? And I got, you are pushing yourself away so hard. So yes, you push others away in general out of fear. And my motivation for this is you believe you are unlovable because your parents never loved you. And so I've been dropping into the pain of that recently. And so I keep dropping into the pain of realizing your parents never loved you or wanted you other than out of addictions, to allow yourself to long for your true parents' love and your soulmate. And that in grieving the lack of love from my parents, it's now actually getting me out of the anger towards them. And so it said, like, this has taken a long time to finally get to this, so don't rush it. That it's a breakthrough, that I'm actually even starting to feel grief about it, but that's what will allow me to then go to God. And then except for like out of demands and all that, which is the same as what I was projecting towards my parents. And then so to allow myself to long for my true parents' love and for my soulmate. And then I got, don't long for your soulmate's love, but long to love them. Long to learn how to do this. Practice through learning how to love yourself so you'll know how to love. Learn what love is through experimenting. Learn through experience.
Okay, nice. Thank you. Okay, who else want to share? Michaela?
I had a session with Boris the other day, and in that session, I identified like the 2-year-old underneath this choice to isolate and to push away, and the tantrum that she was actually having. And so for me, my answers was all around this behavior, and to keep focusing the attention, like to notice the testing. Like at 2-year-old, I developed that I test everyone. I'm always testing people if they love me, and to start to really become more aware of that and to tune into that and to recognize that it's avoiding the terror of this really large void that I haven't really even acknowledged yet. And that's just where to keep focusing my attention in order to stop pushing my soulmate away.
Okay. Okay, thank you. Okay, others? Nancy?
Yeah, okay. Yeah, so for question 1,
Oh, what happened? Oh, you're mute now. Now you went mute.
okay. Okay, there we go. So for question 1, I got yes, along with everyone else. And then what's the motivation? I got 2 things, low self-worth and fear of disappointment of who they are, because there are expectations of who I want them to be. And for the third question, I got, where do I start? Just honesty about my real desires and
Okay.
awareness of, and just to practice, I guess, awareness of blocks that I have.
Perfect. Good. That's a good one. Thank you. Selena.
So just what I got was what Helen was trying to do is what my soul's trying to do. My soulmate's trying to do from the spirit world is to give me love, give me his love without, like somebody brought up, to help me grow. Like if I allow that love in my life daily as much as I can, it will help me grow towards my authentic self. And then I'll automatically want to give it back. Like I don't need to think about giving it back until I know myself as well as he does. And he's just able to give it and wants to. So it's that was a lot of what Helen was trying to do, is what I realized why she was constantly, because she knows if he thinks and allows it and feels it, it would help him with his growth towards God.
Yeah.
Not just about and automatically create, because he was feeling natural love for her, but not the soulmate love. Yeah. I don't think the same as she was, which she was fine with. That's the part that's hard to get wrap my head around anyway.
Okay.
Is because that's the construct we're in, is that when you're getting, you should give back. And I'm just not there. I can't.
No,
like I'm
exactly.
not there yet. I'd have to use my willpower, and I don't want to do that.
No.
Well, and it wouldn't be real anyway. But
exactly.
Like, but if I will allow it into me, it will help me
absolutely
become who I am, so that I can have that relationship, because that's what matters.
Okay.
Not that I don't know, did that any of that make sense?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Sometimes our soulmate, the other half, is a lot more developed, has
Yeah.
love to give, has
Yeah.
God's love to give.
Yeah.
And we are in a position to receive so that we can grow.
And I've just gotten through a process where it's not painful to me to have that. Where I've been rejecting it because it's painful. Like I've accepted that that's real. That's
okay. Okay.
And now
that's beautiful.
Just showing how that's like so nurturing for me to allow myself to receive it, to just allow it.
Okay. Thank you. Okay. Others? So my answers were I'm strongly pushing soulmate away out of terror. I mean, pure terror. I'm pushing, it's as if, because I've had a lot of experience of sexual violence. So in my soul, I'm pushing away the perpetrator. That's how much terror I'm in. My motivation is that I don't want him to see my injuries. I'm hiding my injuries. I'm hiding how I really am. I wish to hide how I really am in my injury and brokenness. And where do I start? I am beautiful just as I am. I am God's beloved just as I am. To embrace that, to see that will help me stop pushing some of the stuff that came up in our conversation today. Okay, so this has given us some insights today about this conversation, and we'll have to decide as a group if we want to continue another week on this topic or move on to a different soulmate talk. So we'll have a discussion once I stop recording, and we'll see what happens next week. All right.